What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Andy hopping back into another game. Today we're going to be playing the Stanley Parable. I don't know too much about the game, honestly. Just kind of bought it and was like, it seemed kind of interesting. I've seen Coke Carnage, who's a Twitch streamer. I've seen him play a little bit of it, and it was just kind of really interesting concept. So I was like, let me buy it. I don't know too much about the story. I just know that you're like an employee whose bosses disappear, and then you kind of go on this. I don't even know if it's like a puzzle or kind of just an experience, but I decided let's try it. Bring it to the YouTube channel so you guys can enjoy it. While I enjoy it, that's about all I know. If you guys like the videos, anytime throughout the video, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're uploaded every time I do upload a new game video or go live or anything like that. Because I try to do that frequently. I try to upload as frequently as possible. It's been kind of sporadic lately, but I'm planning on sorting it all out so we can get a lot more steady content. Finally caught up in a couple of games that I was playing before I had to restart my PC. So we should be getting those games back to pushing out content for those as well. So without further ado, I guess let's hop into the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Stanley's a very simple man.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
Man with no purpose.
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Everybody's gone. Like, nobody's here. Turning gets kind of slow in this game.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So they're telling us where to go. And the door's closed behind us. Okay. That's not creepy at all. I don't think this is a horror game, though.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
There's a whiteboard manager. You know how to alter without consulting whiteboard manager. RP Franz. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic. All right.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay. I wonder what was down there. But there's got to be a way to turn this up. No? What does that say? Executive bathroom. Okay. But this has got to be the boss's office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
They
But
just
of
give us
course,
everything.
Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yeah, now this is getting creepy a little bit.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oh, shit.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You see, I feel like I should like not listen to him, bro. Like, what if I go through the escape? Like, what if I go through the escape?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Was he lying to me? Or hold on, we gotta see.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Getting farther? Find a loop?
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Shit, we might actually die here. What the fuck?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he
this is
resigned
like,
and
what
willingly
the
accepted
fuck?
this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Bro, I'm actually scared, bro.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Wow. Doesn't appear to be so. Looks like I survived. Oh, no.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Crows, huh? Warzone. Early in development, we designed an ending where Stanley would end up in a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which was not our intention. Interesting. We announced the Ultra Deluxe version of Stanley Parable at the Game Awards. There are screenshots. These are screenshots of the video made for the announcement at the game. Okay. As the second trailer we sent out, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially plans to use these for further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are selections. Are you gay? Wow. Another one? I appreciate the previous versions of Stanley game as a work of art and the standalone title. I appreciate it. I'm eager to see the sequel, prequel, standalone companion game. Oh, that changed too fast for me now. The lounge. Another version of the lounge. Cargo lift. Apartment timer. How do we get back to the beginning of the game at this point? I gotta progress with the story now. I thought wouldn't it be cool if like you just walked into the glass and like you started the game over? That'd have been cool. There we go.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
This game is unusually deep.
But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
What the fuck is going on? Okay, so we're starting at the beginning again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Perhaps.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Let's follow him this time, see what happens.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Let's follow what the guy says this time.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk.
That's
What
different
could
than
its
the first
purpose
time.
be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly,
That was
by
a
simply
different,
pushing
like,
random buttons
narration
on the keypad, Stanley
than the
happened
first
to
time.
input the correct code by
Oh, it's
sheer
dark as
luck.
hell.
Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Is he not going to acknowledge the escape route this time? I'm supposed to press the button? He didn't tell me to press the button. Okay.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
what the
eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant
Are we
nothing.
427? Is that us right there? Were we 427? I think so. Let's see. Looks like our office. I mean, all offices look the same. No cap. So what do I do now? Oh, walk this way. Oh, what is going on?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
Never.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
So how do I do that? Power? I guess we're going to the facility. Power. Mind control, idle, awaiting input. Mind control. I can't really read that, I'm sorry.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Stop hitting off. The hell? Bro, what is going on in this game?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him.
The game
This was
like
exactly
deep.
the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
I feel like at some point we're gonna end up back at that office. Bro, what did I just say? Sorry, I'm checking. Bro.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What
Stanley
the
decided to go
hell?
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We got an achievement for beating the game, it said. So
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
this is the one on our right this time.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Sorry for the skip, my food had arrived. Had to grab that.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
I'll just stand here.
Yes, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Say something. I kind of cut him off there. I'm sorry, guy.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Back on. Well, we know what happens if we go in there, so I guess let's do this time.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Bro, he just scared the shit out of me, bruh.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Bro, he's just scared the shit. You can't be closing doors in my face like that, bro.
Down, right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Bro, what the like, what?
All of his co-workers were gone.
What
could
is
it
going
mean?
on?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Like, is there another way I can go from here? Like, I'm confused. Both doors are
When
closed this
Stanley-
time.
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Bro, I don't know. Oh, this is giving me backrooms vibes, and I don't like the backrooms at all. I'll tell you that. That shit is scary. Bro, what is going on?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Cutting this way again. No doors.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Okay. Should I be looking in the windows of these rooms?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
This is not
the story. Here it comes.
Bro, what is going on?
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
So we're going back this way again. Again, this is not where I came from. Bro, what
Now
is
this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about
we're gonna restart
this?
again?
You win!
Oh, I won again.
Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to
there's a
restart.
crouch? There's a line.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Okay. This is not the way I went last time. Bro, this game is like mind
You
warping,
see,
bro.
the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
What is going on?
music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
There wasn't anybody fired last time. They firing people? What's my number again? 427. I knew it was 427.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Okay.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
It's just a square. Sorry, this is like giving a lot of back.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct
How
one.
was the answer clearly
Another
yes?
victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
The confusion ending.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
17 hours. That's not
The
right.
confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined?
Get bored, find a bookstore.
So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget?
So
My
where are
mind
we?
goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing.
Oh no.
Wall. Well,
Nope.
who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide?
Oh, so we're at the 5th
Why
start.
don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be.
It's got previous
I don't want the
restarts.
game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's
Invented.
going on.
Line
I don't want to be
again.
trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
What's
So,
going on?
okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now.
So we got about 3 more
We'll
restarts
find out,
apparently
won't
in
we?
this game.
Eventually. Well, in the
Based off
meantime,
this. Alright, so this is number 5.
all of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
At some point we're supposed to be prevented from completing the game.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his
What happens if
boss's
we walk
office.
downstairs? I hate red. Like, I love the color red, but it just creeps me out, bro.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wish it to be over.
Maybe they thought I know
Let
the
me go
path.
back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh, what the fuck?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Oh, we're back at the beginning again. Okay. It's number 6. There's no... Number 6 was no voice at all? Bro.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
So he is here. Why didn't he just like not talk? He's like...
Yet there was not a single person here either.
He's half
Feeling a
talking.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
It's like half talking or something.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take, too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to guess blindly, ever. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
This game is like the weirdest mind trip ever, bro.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
We're not dying again, I'll tell you that much. We've been there, done that.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
I wonder why there's a crouch function. Never needed to crouch yet.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Yes, yes,
Each
that's
bore the
427.
number of an employee in the building.
It's our office.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen. And Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom...
But they are still
nothing.
fired. So there are some that are fired. Why does that one stay on? What does that one say? I wish I could see it from here.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control?
It's got a good
Never.
start.
It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled
here
with
before?
emotions. Happy or sad
What?
or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Was this button here last time? This 5, man. Is this ending number 5? We're on like 7 now, no? What happens if I press power on?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's
Bro,
your
what
time
is
to
this guy's
shine.
problem?
You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp.
What the hell was
I have to
for?
say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off?
Bro.
I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy.
Where's the red button?
You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
This game is stressing me the fuck out.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bro, this game is like new content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
I didn't. Thank you for
After
telling me.
receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
So was that just the base
Oh, well,
game?
this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Thing is, I don't know what's new and what is the elevator gonna move. I don't know what's new
Is it
and what's
broken?
not new.
What's going on here? Should we
I don't even know how long the original
somewhere
game
or-
was.
Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Oh, this game is really like trippy.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right.
Jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
More jumps. Okay.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the new content.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar.
Well, this
And
guy's
don't get me
preaching.
started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
This is not where I started at before. This is a picture of the office. I hate Mondays. Not the only one, friend.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here!
This
In
is
the
why there's no
vent!
couch cut.
I want to show you something!
Died for a
You
second.
remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
This is dope.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
The demo. Honestly, wasn't possible to get this achievement. Go outside, don't play for 5 years. Game innovation. Oh my gosh. Debut game. Story. Created surprisingly down to earth. Stanley Parable deals tough choices. That's when Stanley died.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's
is
how
quite
grand
true.
and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
We're tested with another choice. We can go down. Not really. Okay, cool. Okay. Double doors. Person of the year. I don't even know what program that is. These concepts. The end is never, end is never. Is that a tie or? I think that's a tie. Top 10 memories from the Stanley Parable.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Sorry for yawning, guys. I was just up late.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Nothing
Surely these
good, I'm
reviews were
guessing.
glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Yeah, this game is deep, to say the least. Speaking on a lot of topics right now.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
This game is like deep. It's talking about how game creators feel when they read reviews now.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here,
He's not gonna stop
we'll
talking.
pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time
Now, look,
everything
you
all
gotta
at
actually
once,
talk.
so, now
Wait
you
till you push
see,
the
blah,
button
blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and
Behind
the
the wall.
choices, or what have you, and therefore by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all
They
at
just
once,
move.
so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice.
Okay.
That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making
does he want me to
choices,
skip
and
again?
that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both... Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review, merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely.
Yeah.
Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused.
Makes sense.
Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more so...
Yep.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
Yeah.
I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall?
We're gonna have to skip again.
Is there any possibility that you could say Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here, and more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again. I can't control anything in this room, Stanley. I can't touch it, and I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button.
Yeah.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
The plant died.
Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because...
This is dark now.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of... But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition.
He's
But
been
where are
talking.
the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demand. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising
Well, he was a
heart the
therapist.
words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences.
How do I get out of here? I'm scared.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
We're getting a drizzle in here more and more. A leak. Yeah, see? Hopefully we'll get out of here soon then. If it keeps deteriorating, it'll be open. Yes. Look at that. Not exactly enough yet though. The narrator is not talking anymore. Nature is broken through. That's beautiful. What's next? I don't like it here. Just sent a shiver down my spine, bro. What the fuck was that? We're sideways. There's an exit. Just sand? Am I at a beach? Where can I go? We're back here again. I am like
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
baffled.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content, huh?
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
The end is never the end
Yes,
again.
you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
What his voice is
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Game makes my brain hurt.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Put your name in the game. A whole new office. 999 is the new orange. Oh, red is the new orange. Then an update ray traced, more of the same, but in a good sequel. Button that says name of the player. Just playing that game. Is this map? Q for free achievement. Okay, let's go ahead. Q. Z is merch. Settings world champion. Infinite hole. Interesting. Infinite hole, huh? So how the hell do we get to Q? We are here. Infinite hole is that way. That's down. So maybe it's this one? Yeah, mess. Can you find them?
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life. God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic. Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Interesting. Guess our
What
next
else?
stop.
What other exhibits haven't we seen yet? You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
Yeah.
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
You can refill it. This guy. Let's see this name in the game part.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself,
Are you closing the door,
what do
bro?
players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Okay.
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim,
Yeah.
falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim,
Yeah.
seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust.
Sad.
Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
Yeah.
If so, then please step forward and press the button.
My name is Jim and I work in the office.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
My name is...
Jim.
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this
Sounds
were the
something.
only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Back up? Yeah. Alright. Now let's visit the infinite hole.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Okay. What's up? Settings world champion. We can't go in there. Yet.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
How do I even pick? Bro. What am I supposed to be doing? Oh.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Yeah, I know. Okay then.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Insurance bucket.
common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting.
Need a nap. My
You may
brain
even
is
come to
tired
long
playing
for
this
the
game,
gentle
bro.
embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
So yes, sir.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair,
That's a
must
nice touch
already
on the
be
bucket.
sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
Does it
I
now?
think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Thank you.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
This is like genius. Oh, I keep the bucket.
Does anyone give out awards
Says
for
the button,
most
says Jim
enjoyable
now.
bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Says the button that says gym now. Wow. Yeah, the other thing we have to hit really is the infinite hole. Those collectibles, no? Oh, no, we did collectibles. Just we got the award. Yeah, the last thing is the infinite hole. It's the space-time falling hole like infinity. Space like infinity. This dude. What? Somewhere in there, infinity is just sitting in the middle. It just keeps going. Okay.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Yeah.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
But wait, there's more. Yeah, so the only places I didn't hit was office decorations and settings world champion. And then exit. So A9 is collectibles. Exits on our here?
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready
Yeah.
to move on now?
Yeah, I'm pretty ready.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say,
Yeah.
let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait,
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna call it here. Tomorrow, whenever I upload this next video, we'll hop into the Stanley Parable 2, kind of see how the game keeps progressing from there. I hope you guys enjoyed this little mind trip. It's been really weird for me, but very entertaining to say the least. I hope it's been the same for you. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like the video. If you want to keep up with the content, make sure you guys subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're notified every time I do go live. You would think I would have this speech down by now, but yeah. If you guys would comment what you guys were thinking, comment the theories you guys are picking up and stuff like that, other games you want me to play, of course. Just kind of get at me. Should be a link to my Discord if you guys ever want to play games together or just want to recommend other games or talk to me or anything like that. There's a dope community we got going on there. We play Valorant, Call of Duty, stuff like that. So make sure you guys want to join that if you can. But if you want, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and you out.